My goal with this course, and especially the system that we're building, is that it can generate leads on its own by the time you're done with it and it's all set up and published and running, and that you have a lot of the basic skill set to keep making sure it's generating the right kinds of leads and bringing them in while you're sleeping, while you're not paying attention, while you're not throwing new content on it, which means I need to explain SEO. And I don't want you to freak out about that. I promise it's not going to be technical. We're going to make this very simple, but everybody can understand SEO at a level where you can understand the types of leads that your website and other platforms are bringing in based on the words that you've put on there. So what is basic SEO at its core? We're going to talk about what are the easiest ways to improve search optimization without coding, without getting deep into back-end stuff and like system platform lingo, confusing web developer level things. What is it? It's just simply helping your marketing, any platform that you're on, that you're putting content on, rise to the top of the list that people would use for search. It applies to a lot of different types of platforms, not just your website. SEO is becoming one of the kind of mega marketing tools across multiple types of platforms. And if you can think like a searcher, you can do SEO. That's the key. The trick is thinking like somebody who is getting into a search bar on different types of platforms. Pinterest is a good example. YouTube is a good example. Amazon is a great example because that's probably one of the easier platforms for us to understand how much of a difference a search term makes in what it's pulling up. At its core, SEO is about that. It's not necessarily about you having the technical skills to make SEO happen for your website. And I'm going to be honest, I've run into plenty of custom-made websites that clients have told me, yeah, when this was made, the web developer said that they optimize it for SEO, so we're good. And then I get in there and I'm like, yeah, they did it. They did something here, but they didn't do what we're going to talk about. And that is they weren't very strategic. They didn't think this through. Okay, so let's just go through this. It's pretty quick. And then I'm actually going to show you putting SEO into the back end of the website, one of the websites that I've made in Lead Pages that I'm using as an example here in this course. And if we get to the end of all this and you're like, I still need help with SEO, again, you always have the discussion post that you can ask questions on and let me know and give me feedback. You can always get into the private Facebook group too, and we can have a conversation about it. All right, so here are some simple ways to optimize your website or platforms that you're on for search. First of all, everything in marketing is driven by how well defined your target audience is. We've talked about this when we talk about brand messaging and copywriting, even down to the types of products that you decide to sell or services that you decide to offer. You really, really have to define an audience at the very start. Who is it that you really want to sell to, that you really want to work with? Most people start way too broad, and they don't narrow it down to actually filling a gap for a smaller group of people. So if that's an issue for you, you're going to struggle with search engine optimization because SEO, like many other things, really is more and more powerful the more narrow and defined you can make it. So think about what would that target audience that you have hopefully defined well, narrowed down, made small and specific. Okay, you've got that person on your brain. Now, what are they going to put into a search bar? When they go to Google, what are they going to type in? That is a great place to start. And then you can do variations off of that. What's going to get them to your specific products and services? And Also, what do you want to push the most as far as what you offer? Do you want to push a certain type of service more than others? Well, then maybe you come up with more keywords and phrases around that thing that you want to promote the most. And then maybe that changes after 6 months or so, or next year. And you want to freshen that up. After this lesson, you're going to know how to do that. One great way to start, once you've kind of done those first two things, is to go ahead and start putting those options for search that you've brainstormed into a Google search bar, and then see what comes up. What's really cool about that is Google will actually give you like a list of sort of variations of what you've put in the search bar. And you probably see this happen all the time and like you didn't even register it. But go ahead and you can do it now. Type in a phrase in Google and then watch it pull up like a quick list of other things that people have searched kind of based on that topic. That can actually inspire you to help you get to more specific search terms and phrases. You're going to want to always use, when you're doing this in your website, you're always going to want to use fresh titles, taglines, descriptions, and image captions. And by that, I mean, do not copy paste. You will actually get in trouble for copy pasting because Google's super smart. And I have seen, I have a whole platform that I use called SEMrush that digs deep into SEO on websites. And the number one problem with every website that I have worked on and improved on is copy pasting stuff or stuff that's verbatim, the same across like product descriptions and product titling. And you just don't do it. There's very few places in the Lead Pages website right now where you can actually put SEO stuff. So there should be no reason that you feel like, oh, I just need to put in a bunch of SEO, so I'm just going to copy paste. And really, you should never be in the habit of doing that. Google wants to see that you have a variety of words and descriptions and all of that on a website, and they're going to know when stuff is verbatim, repetitive in your site. This is also true for keyword stuffing. Keyword stuffing used to be a thing a couple decades ago. I started blogging for SEO in 2005, and basically I got paid to keyword stuff blogs. At that point, it wasn't penalized yet, and it did work, and it was so boring. But now, oh no, we're way past that. Don't do it. Don't ask people to do it on your site. And when you follow what I'm going to talk about here, you're hopefully not going to keyword stuff. Let's make a list of 20 to 30 keywords and phrases and just use like one or two at a time, meaning when you have an opportunity to put an SEO description into like the site settings of your website and then separate page settings, which is all shown in the lesson where I break it down in Lead Pages, you're going to want to use fresh language and you're going to want to choose, all right, you know what, I'm going to lean in on these couple of keywords or key phrases, and I'm going to write about that specifically this time. The next time I will choose something different. So you see what I mean? We're trying to give it variety and not do a lot of duplicating and, you know, put like 3 things across the entire website. That's not going to get us anywhere with SEO. When you're making that list of 20 to 30 keywords, it's definitely going to help you to go back to your brand messaging, which is, we've kind of lumped in choosing a list of keywords and phrases into the brand messaging lesson in this course. So hopefully you kind of already had an idea of some great keywords to start making a list of when you were in that lesson. And they're going to revolve around, again, what's your priority messaging? That's going to lead you straight into, okay, now, you know, what are some keywords, phrases that would be likely to be searched related to all of that. So hopefully this is not totally fresh. You've already done some work on this. Then you're going to want to fill every opportunity for SEO which includes your website settings. There's usually a main spot on every website platform that's just your big general SEO. When somebody puts in your homepage, that's what's going to come up in search. So that's your first opportunity. In lead pages, and I know most other sites, it looks very similar to that, to go into each separate page on your website and do separate SEO. You'll be able to see this when I demonstrate it. And so you're going to want to fill out all of that. Do not leave that blank, and use as many characters as possible. Usually they have limits. It's like, you can go up to 300 characters or 150 characters or whatever it is. I would suggest, like, don't write a sentence and then call it a day. Actually fill that space up, because that is how you're going to maximize your opportunity there for SEO. What I like to do is write a sentence or two related to the first kind of keyword or phrase that I've picked as the priority for that section. And then I will do a separate couple of sentences related to the different keyword. So I might do like a couple sentences about the 3-month marketing planner that I sell. And I'll go into it a little bit and use a phrase that is fairly commonly searched. So, 3-month marketing planner is actually not super popular. So that's a good one. I never encourage using super general terms. Another way to phrase that is like a 3-month marketing campaign would be a good search term that somebody might search for, and then they land on my planner and I can help them make that 3-month campaign. So those might be a couple of terms that I would want to use just in that one section. And I am, I'm using all of it, and I'm able to fit in 2 phrases that I think are priority phrases in that one section. But I'm also not going to try and overdo it. I'm not going to sit there and stuff like 3-month marketing planner, 6-month marketing planner, marketing planner template, marketing, downloadable marketing planner. Like, I'm not going to throw every term on my list into one section, because it doesn't make sense to the average reader. Google is looking for copy, content, writing that feels like it was written from person to person, like we would be in dialogue. So that's another thing to be careful of. So fill every opportunity in your website with SEO terms written conversationally. And that also includes the images that you put in there. That's a place that a lot of people don't know they can put SEO, but you can. You can go into the image. When you click to edit the image in lead pages, there's a place that you can name the image. You should do that. You should name it something related to your business. If it's a stock image, let's say for the travel planning business that I'm doing a system for right now, there's a stock image at the top of the site of, I think it's a girl, like she's standing by water or something like that. So that would be a perfect opportunity for me to say, honeymooner vacationing in the Caribbean, or something along the lines of like travel planner for honeymoon vacationer. So I can put that in there. It's not going to show on the main website as my caption or anything. If it does, then write a caption that makes sense for what people are going to read on the website. But that name is going to be on the website, and it's going to be searchable by Google. And then underneath that, there's an alt text section. That's there pretty much for every type of image on every type of website platform. It's another opportunity where you can write a description of that image, a different one than what you've made the name. We're not doing verbatim here. And that's another SEO opportunity. There's also usually places to put captions under pictures. That's another thing that you can do that increases the SEO, because it adds content to your site that is searchable. So any searchable content on your site, whether it's visible to the visitor or not, is a fantastic spot for SEO. So you're going to want to make sure you cover all of those. Once you get into a rhythm of this, especially on the lead pages sites that we're doing right now that are fairly simple, you'll be able to knock that out actually pretty quickly, especially if you have a list of keywords and phrases that you've honed in on. And then you're going to want to go to the next page. So if it's homepage and you're done with that, and then you're going to want to go over to that contact page that we've published. And you're going to want to do the same thing. Look for the same opportunities. There's not as much going on there, so you might not even need to do as much on that. Okay. As far as narrowing down your keyword tips, avoid the general popular terms. And I'm going to add in a bonus tip for you. This is true for hashtags too. Whenever you do get on social media, I'm not telling you to do it right now because I don't want that distraction in your life until your system is set up and you're really pushing for those first leads, those network leads that we talked about in the startup squad. But once you do get around to like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube is very search optimized related. Pinterest is very search optimized. Whenever you're using any platform where people have a search bar and they actually would go in and search a decent amount to find what they're looking for, don't do the general popular thing. Narrow that down and add to those general popular terms a geographical location. That makes it much smaller, much more narrow. So travel planner in Charlotte, North Carolina is going to be far more effective use of your efforts than just travel planner. I mean, that alone makes it pretty understandable, right? Like, it's like, that's common sense. Add adjectives, descriptive words to those general terms. So travel planner for Caribbean honeymoons, like that's going to be more descriptive than, again, just travel planner. And then even the more descriptive and specific you can get. So like travel planner, personalized European trips. That is going to be something that fewer people are going to search, but that's okay because you want those few people that are searching for that to get to you and not the next travel planner, right? So it's great for SEO for you to think smaller. Think like a searcher on Google or Amazon. Those are the two platforms I feel like make it pretty obvious and actually help you boil down search terms the best. If you're in doubt, think how you would go search on Amazon for something, especially a product, because then you'll be like, it is definitely different how I find size 8, brown fall boots for my toddler than if I just put in brown boots for a toddler. It changes the search. The more specific you get on Amazon, usually the better your search results are going to be. So think like Amazon searchers if you struggle to find good keywords. So hopefully all of that helped. You know where to go when you need further help with your SEO, or if you feel like you've got it and this lesson was helpful. I'd also love to know that too. Send me a little note by getting into that discussion section or getting into the private Facebook group and being like, man, you made SEO very simple. And now I feel like I really understand how to do it for my website. I would love that encouragement. All right, now let's go look at actually putting it in lead pages.